Alright guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. This week we've got the US Open. That's right, the second major of the year is finally here. This one's going to be pretty exciting. Typically the US Open is the one that I do best at. You kind of just know which stats to come to expect with the US Open event just because the rough is a lot more penalizing. You got to get those guys that are hitting the ball really well, hitting those fairways, hitting the greens, and not making many mistakes. And we'll touch on that in just a second, but as always, I do like to do that quick recap of the previous week. So last week, Stewart Cink went on one, which was an incredible story. But with him winning, that meant that low exposure play Harry Higgs did not win. Long shot bet at 100 to 1. Christopher Ventura, who's also mid exposure play, did not win. That meant high exposure play Doc Redman did not win as well. But last week was an interesting week, was a profitable week, and keeping the wheels rolling in the right direction. And, maybe that's going to mean an even better week this week. That recent form is there for 9-5 right now. Let's keep that rolling into the major championship, and let's get into the major championship. All right, so just looking at course history, it's going to be tournament history. You guys know that. But I also am going to be looking at the PGA Championship a little bit from about a month ago. And also the BMW Championship a few weeks ago as well. PGA Championship did play a little bit difficult. If the US Open course plays a little bit easier, as it has kind of 50% of the time recently, it's either going to be like around -10, which is kind of what the PGA Championship has been, or it's going to be around +1, +3. We don't know what the winning score is going to be or how hard the course is going to play. So that's kind of why I'm looking at all of it together. The last three US Opens, the PGA Championship, and the BMW Championship. Looking at that, these are the players that stood out: Xander, Webb, Hideki, Paul Casey. You can kind of point it out and see the trend there. These four players right here are all the ones that play better on tougher tracks. So it does make sense. And then we'll go into recent form. So recent form, obviously Dustin Johnson absolutely been on a tear. He is the highest priced player this week, and then followed by Jon Rahm. Both those two have been stellar. Both those two play really well on courses like this, tougher tracks. And then Victor Hovland has been making a ton of cuts, and then Hideki as well. Hideki has been a top 30, top 25 machine. He also showed some upside in his last start as well. So, it's painting a nice picture here of what we're going to be attacking with this week. And then just real quickly, looking at the key stats that we're going to be looking at: total driving, greens and regulation, bogey avoidance, fairways hit percentage. It's the US Open. We kind of know exactly what we want to be looking at already just because it typically plays the same. The rough is going to be thicker. You're going to have to hit your fairways. If you do miss the fairway, you're going to have to be good from that rough as well. Why we're looking at greens and regulation percentage, I kind of combine that with accuracy from the fairway and accuracy from the rough. So the stats will kind of mimic that as I go through it in today's video. And then bogey avoidance. If players are avoiding those bogeys, avoiding those big numbers, they're going to be able to make the cut. And then obviously that's all you really want out of a major. You get 6 for 6 across the cut line in a major, you're going to be setting yourself up pretty well, and you're going to have yourself a good week. But let's get into the picks for this week. I'm pretty excited. All right, so just getting to the player pool right now. Obviously, Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm, those two are the class of the field this week. If you can afford to pay up for those two, I think that you should do it. I'm not necessarily saying that you should go out of your way to pay for them, but if you have the salary left over, you should definitely put them in your builds. They grade out really well. They should make the cut, and obviously they have the upside to go out and win. I will say there are a couple of value plays that really stand out to me that, if you guys are trying to fit these two or one of them into your build, I'll show you guys those value plays I'll hit a little bit later on. But get into my first and favorite play, Xander Schauffele here. So Xander Schauffele grades out as a really strong play this week. Top 5 according to my model this week. You just look at the event history. 3 straight T6 or better finishes. Obviously played both the PGA Championship and the BMW Championship. Top 15 in total driving, ball striking, strokes gained total. 2nd in scrambling, 10th in greens and regulation, 4th in bogey avoidance. And the guy is just a cut maker. You really can't go wrong with paying up for Xander Schauffele. Knock on wood there, I guess. But he's going to be a good play for us this week. So Xander Schauffele, if you guys want to start your builds with him, you can. But then if you don't want to, pay down for Webb Simpson. Webb Simpson had a 16th finish year last year, 10th the year before that. Played well at the PGA Championship T37, which, okay, not well, but he did make the cut. Didn't worry you at all. He's the best stat fit in the field this week, actually overcoming Jon Rahm, who had been like the best stat fit in the field, according to my model, for like the last month and a half. And I think that's pretty much just because Webb sat out the BMW Championship. Jon Rahm played in it. Obviously, that tournament was a little bit harder, but I would have loved to have seen Webb play in that just to see how he played in a really tough track, because I think the BMW Championship is going to play a lot similar to how the US Open is going to play this year. But obviously I really like Webb as a play this week. Grades out really well. And if you don't want to pay up for those two, if you want to go a little bit cheaper, Daniel Berger I do like as a play as well. He had T13 at the PGA Championship, 49th finish at the US Open last year, 6th the year before that, miscut the year before that, but he also had a top 25 finish at the BMW Championship. Grades out as a top 10 staff fit, and he is 100th in greens of regulation, but I am looking at a secondary stat this week, which is scrambling, and he ranks out first in that. So that's the reason I'm kind of looking at scrambling, is if these guys aren't hitting the greens, can they, come back and play well and produce? Obviously, being first in scrambling really helps that out. And he's also top 10 in bogey avoidance. So Daniel Berger, I really like as a play. And going a little bit lower, Hideki, I do like a ton as a play as well. Great recent form, one of the best in the field. He had 21st finish at the US Open last year, 16th the year before that, a second the year before that. Obviously, he had a third at the BMW Championship. And then he had a top 25 finish at the PGA Championship. So all signs are pointing to Hideki having a good week. And on top of that, he has been putting a lot better recently. So, things are trending in the right direction, which is why I think we're getting him at a high tier price, although it's only 100 off it being a mid tier price. So let's drop down into the mid tier now. So, if you guys want to go with Adam Scott, Tiger Woods, Patrick Reed, I think that those are fine. Those are going to be safe plays. But I want to talk about Tyrrell Hatton. So Tyrrell Hatton, I like a ton as a play this week. 21st finish at the US Open last year, 6th the year before that, miscut the year before that, so that was 3 years ago. Obviously, he missed the cut at the PGA Championship. We remember the back nine of the PGA Championship where he just kind of imploded. He got it to at least two under the cut line, and that just imploded on the back nine. But I like Tyrrell Hatton a ton as a play. T16 finish at the BMW Championship. He typically plays better at tougher tracks. He's a top 10 staff fit. Once again, he's a guy that just makes a bunch of greens in regulation, hits a bunch of fairways, and is not going to make many mistakes. He's a strong in bogey avoidance. So Tyrrell Hatton at this price point, and that's the key. It's going to be tough for me to pass up Tyrrell Hatton at that price point. You could go with Victor Hovland as well. Victor Hovland has just been a stud pretty much this whole year. Well, it's a new season, but you know what I'm saying. 21st finish or 12th finish last year. Made the cut at the PGA Championship. T40 at the BMW Championship. He's a guy that's just going to hit fairways, going to hit greens, not going to make many mistakes. I don't think he's like an elite play at this price point, although I'm fine with it. Those are really the only two that stand out to me at the mid-tier price point. Let's drop down and go into the low tier now. The first play is going to be Harris English. You guys probably could have guessed that. And I didn't make him a core play because he's been like a core play each and every event that he's been in for us. So I didn't I just want to give you guys something a little bit different. He's a top 10 staff fit still. I mean, he's the third best staff fit in the field, and he's priced this low. Sure, his finish at the BMW Championship was a little bit alarming, but he had been in great recent form before that. It might have been a little bit of a hangover effect from the second place finish at the Northern Championship, which is kind of what I think that was more of, because we've seen him just be a top 25 machine this year. His U.S. Open history isn't the best, but obviously this is the best that Harris English has played in his career. His U.S. Open history is a 58th and a 46, so still made cuts. Not a bad sign at all. Going lower, Paul Casey. So he's going to be the default core play of this video instead of Harris English, but that's mostly because of his great performance on tougher tracks. He typically plays a lot better on tougher tracks. You look at T16 at the BMW Championship, he had the second place finish at the PGA Championship. Then he has 3 straight T26 or better finishes here at the US Open. Grades out as a top 10 stat fit as well, and that's mostly due to the fact that he's a great ball striker, great total driver, and he doesn't make many bogeys. So Paul Casey kind of seems like a safe play, although the last time Paul Casey was looking like this good of a play at his price point, he missed a cut for me at the Masters, and that was when Tiger won. So that was a while ago, but I don't know. I always am a little bit iffy trusting Paul Casey when he's checking all the boxes like this, but I think it'll be a good play for us again this week. Abraham Answer, Gary Woodland, both going to be fine plays for you. I do want to talk about Brendan Todd because he's at a price point that is particularly interesting. Played well at the BMW Championship, played well at the PGA Championship. Obviously, he's been playing some great golf this year, or last season, but this year as well. He's going to hit fairways. He's going to hit greens. If he can get that putter going, he's going to have a made cut. Now, I don't know if we can expect anything fantastic from him. Eventually, this great golf that he's been playing is going to fade away, but this seems like a course where he should be able to go out and play well at, just because it kind of suits the plotter type of golfer that he is. And then after that, Zach Johnson. I thought that he was going to be a value play this week. Kind of sucks that he's not, but you kind of look at it, you get it. He had the 66 at the PGA Championship, followed up with a 76, missing the cut. And he was a value play for us that week because it kind of seemed like he was trending in the right direction. He's a guy that always typically plays well at tougher tracks as well. 58th finish at the U.S. Open last year, and that was when he was playing poorly like he is now. 12th year before that, 27th year before that. He is a top 30 stat fit. Makes greens and regulations, scrambles if he needs to. Typically doesn't make many mistakes. He's top 20 in bogey avoidance, so I don't mind Zach Johnson, although I wish he was priced down a little bit lower. But there are two value plays that really stood out to me, so let's get into those value plays right now. So the first one is going to be, I'll just type him in there, Chez Reavie. Chez Reavie has been in great recent form. Obviously had that good week last week. For some reason, DraftKings is in NFL mode. They don't even put up the Safeway Open results, but obviously top 10 finish there. Has played well at the U.S. Open, third, miscut, 16th finish, made the cut at the PGA Championship. He's a play that I like this week, especially at this price point. Top 27 stat fit. He's a guy that doesn't really make many mistakes. 50th or top 50 in bogey avoidance, 7th in fairways hit percentage. He's going to hit the greens as well. So at this price point, I don't mind Chez Reavie, but there's one better play a little bit lower on. Brian freaking Harman. It's kind of surprising that he is at this price point. And I'm not like trying to say that Brian Harman's is a great play this week, but at this price point, he absolutely is a great play. It doesn't really make that much sense. So great U.S. Open course history. I mean, he's made the cut in those last two starts on the U.S. Opens. Made the cut at the PGA Championship. T12 finish at the BMW Championship. He is a decent stat fit as well. I almost said great. That's not going to carry it, but he's a top 20 stat fit. So you're getting a guy that's made his last 5 cuts, hasn't missed the cut for the comp course history that we're looking at, and is a top 20 stat fit. He is checking all the boxes, and he's 6.4 on DraftKings. Now, that being said, I don't overly trust him, but he should have at least been like $1,000 more. So Brian Harman really does stand out as a play for me this week. Now, there are some other, value plays that you can go ahead and mix and match in there. Not going to put those out there here. If you guys want those, definitely check out the 9 to 5 page. Don't like to make these videos too long, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. Look to keep things rolling again. Have been nice last 2 months. Had a good NFL week 1 as well, so hope you guys join 9 to 5. If you do, the link is in the description below. If not, please just give me a like and subscribe. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.